CEO denied service at her own bank. Seconds later, the manager is fired on the spot. The sun hung low in the sky, casting golden streaks through the towering glass windows of Hamilton and Company. Bank. A woman in a simple navy blue dress stepped inside, her heels clicking softly against the polished marble floors. She carried herself with quiet confidence, her neatly tied bun and poised expression belying the long, exhausting day she'd endured. Her name was Evelyn Carter, and she wasn't just another customer, she was the CEO of the very bank she had just walked into. But no one recognized her. Evelyn had built Hamilton and Company from the ground up. She had started as a teller 2 decades ago, climbing the ranks with determination and a deep-seated belief that banking wasn't just about money, it was about people. Today, she had come unannounced, dressed modestly, to experience firsthand how her employees treated customers when no one was watching. She approached the counter where a young teller greeted her with a warm smile. "Good evening, ma'am. How can I help you?" "I need to withdraw $10,000, Evelyn said. "It's an emergency." The teller nodded and began the process, but before he could proceed, a sharp voice cut through the air. "That won't be possible." Evelyn turned to see a man in a crisp charcoal suit striding toward her. His name tag read, Stephen Holloway, branch manager. "You don't have an appointment," Stephen said, folding his arms. "And we don't just hand out large sums of cash to people off the street." Evelyn raised an eyebrow. "Off the street?" "You heard me," he said coolly. "People try to pull scams like this all the time." He glanced at the teller. "Decline the request and move on." The young teller hesitated, glancing between Stephen and Evelyn. "Sir, I was just verifying her." "I said no," Stephen snapped. "If she has a real emergency, she can come back during proper business hours with appropriate credentials." A silence settled over the lobby. Customers turned their heads. The teller swallowed hard, looking at Evelyn apologetically. Evelyn exhaled slowly, reining in the storm of emotions rising within her. She could have revealed her identity right then. She could have demanded respect. Instead, she asked, "Is this how you treat all customers?" Stephen scoffed. "We treat customers with real accounts fairly." Evelyn studied him for a moment, then reached into her purse and pulled out her sleek, black card, the CEO's executive access card. She placed it on the counter with deliberate ease. Stephen paled. The teller gasped. A hushed murmur spread through the lobby as reality dawned. The woman Stephen had just humiliated, belittled, and dismissed was none other than Evelyn Carter, the very person who signed his paychecks. Evelyn finally spoke, her voice steady but firm. "You're fired." Stephen's face drained of color. "Wait." No, Evelyn's gaze was unwavering. "This bank was built on trust, integrity, and respect. You represent none of those values." She turned to the young teller. "What's your name?" "David," he stammered. "David, you did the right thing. Keep treating customers with kindness. That's what banking should be about." David's eyes widened in gratitude. Around them, customers began clapping softly, their admiration evident. Stephen opened his mouth, but no words came. Security had already arrived, and within moments, he was escorted out. As Evelyn turned back to the counter, David finally processed what had happened. "Would you still like to withdraw the $10,000, ma'am?" She smiled. "Actually, no." She looked around at the gathered crowd. "I'd like to donate it, to any customers here today who might be struggling." Gasps of surprise filled the air. A single mother clutching a stack of unpaid bills wiped away tears. An elderly man on a fixed income murmured a stunned thank you. A college student with a heavy backpack and worry lines on his face covered his mouth in shock. Evelyn didn't need to see their bank statements to know their struggles. She had once been in their shoes. As the money was distributed, an unmistakable feeling filled the room, hope. And in that moment, Evelyn knew, this was the kind of wealth that truly mattered.